Welcome to this edition of AARP Massachusetts Fraud Talk Tuesdays. We are here the second Tuesday of each month from 12 noon to 12:30, where we discuss a different scam and how you can protect yourself and your family from becoming a victim. My name is Deb Bloomberg. I am a volunteer with AARP Massachusetts, and our guest today is Lenore Klein. She's also a volunteer with the AARP Massachusetts Speakers Bureau. Today's topic is vacation and travel scams. You may have joined us today with questions already in mind. If you have, please put them in the Q&A at the bottom of the screen. If questions come up during the presentation, put them too in the Q&A. This session is being recorded. You will receive a link to this recording that you can share with your family and friends. At the end of the presentation, we will share a page with links to a number of resources. So let's get started. Hi, Lenore.
Hi,
I know
Deb.
you are an avid traveler and you just came back from Italy. So I know this topic interests you. Can you tell us a little bit about how prevalent travel scams are?
Thank you, Deb. Well, we could spend several hours covering travel and vacation scams, but in the next half hour, we'll focus on three major areas: property rentals and lodging, car rentals, and airline and travel company scams. Experts believe scams of all sorts, including travel scams, are grossly underreported. The FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, told us that in 2023, 55,000 Americans reported a travel scam. That's underreported. The figure is likely higher than that. The median loss to each traveler was about $1,200. Americans age 50 and up say they plan to spend about $6,650 on vacations in 2024, and that's up from last year. We're all eager, but the demand for travel now has far exceeded pre-pandemic levels. So we're all out there wanting to go on vacation, but our vacation fantasies can have a dark side, and scammers can turn a dream trip into a financial nightmare. Travel is one of the top 10 fraud categories. 30% of Americans have been scammed or know someone that has. These days, travel planning usually starts on the internet. But as you research destinations online and comb travel ideas for savings on lodgings and flights, keep a sharp eye out for deceptive offers and outright scams that could cost you a bundle. Let's start with vacation rentals. There are a number of short-term rentals I'm sure you know about, like VRBO, Airbnb, Craigslist, and social media sites. But we need to do our research before booking one of these sites. Here's an example of one vacation that went wrong. Let's start with a series of unfortunate events that led the Lee family from eastern Iowa into trespassing into a man's home recently. Melanie Lee and her family were visiting Council Bluffs. They found a home on VRBO, and booked it and thought they were all set. As it turned out, they later found out that the homeowner said he never listed this. When the day came to check in, her family didn't receive any confirmation details, but went to the house in search of a lockbox with a key to get in. Melanie found the side door unlocked and said they didn't think anything of it because some hosts actually do that. They leave a door unlocked. The family went in, began divvying up the rooms, and they noticed that it was a little untidy, so they called the owner and never heard back. The actual owner was out of town, but had a friend driving by to make sure everything was going well. Well, the friend called the owner after noticing the extra cars in the driveway, took a picture, and then looked inside and found the Lee family. Needless to say, they were all very embarrassed. And after speaking with the owner over the phone, Melanie Lee realized she'd been scammed. The owner had lived in his house in Council Bluffs for 3 years, and he suspects what happened is that a scammer used photos of his home from a previous sale listing to create a fake vacation rental listing on VRBO. Fortunately, the story had a happy ending. The Lee family and the owner called Verbo and the Better Business Bureau, got the fake listing taken down, and they
Mhm.
refunded the money.
Wow, that is a scary story. It could have gone much worse. Lenore, what are some tips to avoid rental scams?
First, do a search of the property. Most every address, including our own address, can be found online. And use a tool. There's a great tool, Google Street View, to make sure that the photos on the search view matches the one that you see in this particular listing that you're interested in. If the photos are off, if there's not a discrepancy, it's a red flag. You can also search for the property and owner with terms like scam, complaint, or review.
Mhm.
Next, you could do what's called a reverse image search. That's where you would take a photo on the site that you're looking at, put it in the search bar of Google, and then click, and it'll come up with the derivation or the site where this photo is found. Google then finds the websites featuring the image. So if it's a fake picture, Google will show you where it came from. We'll put the specific steps on the resource page, which we'll send you that Deb talked about. And you can also look to YouTube videos that will walk you through how to do a reverse image search. In fact, if you know someone who's on a dating app, you can do the same thing. You can take a photo of a potential applicant on the dating page and do a reverse image search to see if the picture is real or fake. Third, I would really ask a lot of questions. You want to ask the property owner questions throughout the whole process. If they go unanswered, that's a problem. You can even get a copy of the short-term rental agreement and registration to make sure it's right. And don't communicate or pay off a platform. If the listing owner asks you to pay with on an app or with a prepaid debit card, walk away from it. It's not a legitimate booking. Going through the booking site is the safest way to make sure that your payment is secure and it's protected.
Those are really good suggestions. Do you have anything else? Any other suggestion?
I would talk on the phone. I would dial the number that's on the listing itself, see if you can talk to the owner. You know, most scammers don't live locally, so they prefer to communicate an email. But you should always touch base and ask detailed questions. If their answers are vague or inconsistent, could signal a scam. If the person insists on sticking to email, I would walk away from it. You want to check the reviews. Better Business Bureau says that you can look for photos and a variety of reviews. If the property or company doesn't have any online reviews, ask for references and call the references. Some experts say if there are no references at all, go to the booking site and see if they are poorly written. Are there grammatical errors? If something is off, I would walk away from it. Always ask yourself, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Scammers will lure you in with details, sharp discounts, and lots of amenities. They also try to get you into a heightened emotional state. And this is something that happens with all scams. They try to get you at what we call under the ether, in a heightened emotional state, promising you a great vacation, great amenities, rock bottom prices. And we get very excited and we start to think with, not logically, but with our emotions. So have your guard up, really think twice about whether this is a legitimate listing. Payment options, we already talked about, the prepaid debit cards. Don't fall for any of that. When you're asked for payment via a peer-to-peer app like Venmo, Zelle, Cash App, or Apple Wallet, that's only to be used to transfer money to friends and family. It's not for a business. Sending money via one of these sites is like sending cash. You're not going to see it again. If the listing owner asks you to wire something, again, that is money lost. A credit card is usually the safest option. And finally, urgency is another red flag. If they're pushing you to book something now, it's going to be gone. There are all these people waiting. I wouldn't fall for it. They're just trying to take advantage. And it's very easy to get caught up in the excitement of planning a vacation, but you want to take your time and be careful about it. Remember that scammers get your attention by advertising. In addition to low rates and great amenities for houses and cottages and condos, some criminals hijack legitimate listings, that's what happened with the Lee family, and swap in their own contact information or use stolen photos and made up details to create fictitious listings. All I want to do is to create payment for non-existent bookings.
Wow. Lenore, when we travel, it's often we need to rent a car too. Are there any scams we should be aware of that deal specifically with car rentals?
Well, car rental is another scam risk. And, it used to be pre-pandemic, they had a lot of cars, rental car companies had a lot of cars in their inventory, but they slashed inventory during the pandemic. So there are fewer cars, there's a shortage, prices are high. Again, scammers are taking the opportunity to set up phony websites with fake customer service lines. So you really want to pay attention and make sure that you're getting to the right URL. They'll all ask to have you pay in advance, a gift card or debit card. Gift cards, that's another source for scammers to take your money. Then you don't want to be left stranded. So those payment options are usually a scam.
So what are some really good tips to protect yourself when you're renting a car?
Well, the first thing to do is verify the rental car company that it's a genuine site. Scroll down on Google for the URL. The first things that come up usually when we click on Google are the ads that someone has paid for to come up first. Those aren't necessarily the best sites. So scroll down to find the URL that you're looking for. Look for any spelling errors. And now we're seeing both in fictitious email addresses and fictitious websites. They may add an extra number, an extra character. Again, look for misspellings, making sure that if it doesn't look right, it probably isn't. Make sure that when you find the proper URL, you're calling the right customer service department. And you should consider also reserving a car before booking. It used to be that we book the vacation and then we book the car. But now with the shortage out there, you want to make sure that you have the car first, then you do the booking. As close as you can get to the actual date. Reserve in advance is always a wise policy. Rates are likely to rise the sooner you get to the travel date, so really book in advance. If you really want to look at discounted prices, you might want to try a non-airport rental agency, and they usually will charge lower rates. You may have to take a cab or an Uber to that site, to the rental car company, but it still pays off in the end. You're still going to save money. And another thought is to book a pay later rate website so you can cancel and rebook if a better deal comes along. You don't have to use your credit card at the beginning. There is a legitimate site called autoslash.com, which automatically checks discount codes and numerous travel websites. So to find the best deal, always try the discount codes. You could try AARP, always good discount codes, corporate codes, and also frequent flyer programs that you have with the airlines. They often will invite you to book the flight, book the rental car, and the hotel at the same time.
Those are good tips. Thank you, Lenore. Now, you also said you were going to cover airline and travel company scams. So what other types of tactics are out there that we need to be aware of?
Well, here's the story of another airline trip that went wrong. There was a woman who walked into the Rapid City, South Dakota airport. She had a ticket that she paid for to go to St. George, Utah. She paid $398. She was on her way to visit a dear friend. She never got there. An employee at the airport told her that it was a non-existent flight. The woman said she looked up the trip. She booked the trip through a travel agency website that looked legitimate. The only caution, the only red flag was that on page 5 of her ticket, it said that she couldn't contest the reservation once she purchased it. Her granddaughter did a search online and traced the website to a travel agency that got a bad review on Better Business Bureau. her credit card company thankfully reimbursed her. So we can start with some unscrupulous travel companies like the one in the story. They get into the game by offering what looks like a serious discount of airline tickets, cruises, resort and getaway packages. Some tactics that these criminals use are operating lookalike websites. It's the same as with the lodging with the fake VRBO site. Fake websites for airlines, popular travel companies, tourist visa procurement, and the popular TSA. TSA is a pre-check option. It's a fee-based program that is run by the Transportation Security Administration to really get you through airport security and check in much more quickly. While these third-party sites are popping up, and they're trying to duplicate to do a fake website to again take your money through Visa cards or your credit card. So you want to make sure it's all legitimate. Again, look for spelling errors. Any extra sites, if there are reviews and there's poor wording, poor grammar, stay away from them. The TSA PreCheck and Global Entry, that's another popular program. Scammers are getting into the act, and there's really one site that you can go to, very simple, tsa.gov. That's the legitimate site for enrolling or renewing in that kind of program.
Can you talk a little bit more about the travel and vacation scams that tend to use emails and text messages?
Yeah, I would beware of any unsolicited emails and texts that you receive. Also, phone calls. These messages offer promotions such as, free flights to give up your credit card information, or invite you to click on links which could download malware onto your device. So all the phony giveaways that you may get via email, text, I would stay away from them. They're unsolicited. Sometimes you get these automated emails, texts that congratulate you on winning a free getaway to a top destination. If they mention paying taxes or all you have to pay are these processing fees, I would walk away. That's the way that the crooks can commandeer your personal information, or claiming the prize requires a brief meeting. Now, there are a lot of legitimate timeshare. I happen to be part to click on a vacation that offered a 50% discount at a reputable hotel. And all you need to do is attend an hour-long meeting. Well, it turned into 3 hours. It ate into my vacation. There are legitimate travel clubs, but just be aware of what you're signing up for. But be ready if they mention things, the telltale signs, hefty fees for benefits, and also benefits that are hard to access. Once you agree, you can't even find them.
Wow. Lenore, could you please recap the main points you covered today? Because there are some really great points there.
Yeah, I definitely pay by credit card. This gives you the most protection. And believe me, credit card companies, my own credit card company has flagged some suspicious payments, and they're on top of it. But I would definitely use your credit card. You can always get reimbursed. Stay away from wire transfers, prepaid debit cards. Check out the company, the Better Business Bureau. Go to TripAdvisor. They're a very reputable site, and they'll tell you whether this is a legitimate company. Don't assume a vacation rental listing is legitimate because it's on a familiar website. Be especially vigilant when using classified ads, also as like Craigslist. They don't offer reviews or have any guarantees. Do read the fine print. See if there are any cancellation policies, refund or payment security options that you need to be aware of, and see if these websites offer protection against scams. A lot of the reputable ones do. Do get the terms of the travel agreement in writing. And all I can say about insurance, some of these disreputable sites build in insurance, hidden insurance costs. Most of the reputable firms will offer you the option, and it will be a separate, after you've booked everything, do you want this insurance? And won't throw it in as a hidden fee. So stay away from processing fees. A free trip, it's most likely a ploy. And as always, don't make a purchase, including the travel or vacations, where you're pressured that puts you under the ether. It's a heightened emotional state. So a couple of tools that we can use to really make sure that you have a great vacation. Thank you, Deb.
Let's just see if there were any questions that came up. I see one question here. Are phone apps safe to be sure you have the correct contact for flights, lodging, and car rentals? Good question.
Well, I don't think, and I'll defer to Dennis for this, but I think that if you've bought your flight, let's say on a reputable airline, and they send you an email from the legitimate site giving you the phone app, I think that's probably safe. I wouldn't pick anything off just a website. I would let it come from the airline itself.
I agree with that. And again, any text message or email that you get that is unsolicited, stay away from it. They're not legit.
Right. Well, before we end, we're going to share a slide with the resources that we mentioned today. So Dennis, if you take that over.
I will. And let's do share. And let's do slideshow. And oops, hang on one sec. And here we go. Yeah, these are a number of different resources that are available. Lenore mentioned some of them during the presentation, autoslash.com. So if you're looking to rent an auto, give you some information there. Lenore mentioned about the TSA. Go to the TSA site, not some other site that people have texted you. Make sure that you're going to the right site. Trusted Traveler Program is another one, and the Better Business Bureau. They're a wealth of information to make sure that you can stay safe as you're booking travel. Go onto their site and check that out. And these are all links that you're going to get in the in this handout. AARP Fraud Watch Network is a great place for resources. And somebody asked, actually before we started, Deb said, where can I look at all the other Fraud Talk Tuesdays that have gone on in the past? Well, here's a link right here. If you click on this, you go to a site and scroll through some of the items, and you will find the Fraud Talk Tuesdays for this past January, February, March, April, May, and June. And remember, if you think that you've been victimized by a scam, you can always call the Fraud Watch helpline. These people are well trained, and they can help you work through whether in fact it is a scam, and if you have been scammed, what you should do next to keep you and your family and your financial and personal information safe.
Okay, thank you, Dennis, and thank you, Lenore. This was really valuable information. We
You're
hope
welcome.
we hope that everyone has an enjoyable summer, whatever your vacation plans might be. And remember to tune in next month on Tuesday, August 13th, when our topic will be what to do after you or a loved one has been scammed. Thank you for joining us today. And please remember, if you can spot a scam, you can stop a scam.
Do you want to stay on for a little?